Good morning. My name is Anna Ferrantino, and today I'm going to be analyzing the performance management at Afreximbank. So, a brief overview of what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to do an overview of the company and when it was formed. We're going to be talking about what the issue at the company currently is, as well as potential solutions to fix that issue. And then we're going to come back and wrap it all up together to finish this up. So, Afreximbank was first founded in October of 1993. Its headquarters are in Cairo, Egypt. The responsibility of this bank was to be able to work to fixing the intra-African trade, the financial flows, the debt, and the international trade that was suffering in Africa, as other countries were not doing as much trading with Africa as a country. However, as time went on, the bank ran into a problem. And this problem was that the issue of evaluations of their employees. So the bank realized that they didn't have a very good system in place to be able to properly evaluate their employees and how well that they were doing. This in turn caused a lot of issues as employees were being rewarded unfairly. They were being given greater evaluations for work that they didn't do, consequently gaining better bonuses, better recognition. This in turn was harmful to the employees who were doing better work and were really trying to be hard workers because they were not getting the recognition that they deserved, and they were not being rewarded as handsomely as these other employees who were not pulling their weight. And this led to the big issue within the company. So just the lack of having a proper way to evaluate the issues, to evaluate the employees, but also just an issue of integrity, as employees and management were both caught being comfortable and okay in line. So, the question is, what can be done about it? Well, as there is a need to have a good system in place for evaluations, I think it is more important to have honesty amongst the employees. So I have here 3 solutions to consider. The first solution would be to have a report. This can be either a daily report or a weekly report. And so what this means is that the employees will have to turn in a report either daily or weekly to their respective managers. And in this report, they will list what it is that they had done. They worked on project A, they worked on project B. And they also have to tell how long they worked on it. I did project A for 20 minutes. I did project B all day. And then that way, the management can see what they were working on and how long that is taking them. They can then see the progress being done on those assignments and see if the employee is actually working on it like he says he is. Because if an employee says they've been working on this project all day, but yet not any progress has been done on it, that's going to let the management know one of 2 things. Either 1, this project is very involved and needs more time, or 2, the employee is not actually working on it like he said or as hard as he said, and there you will see that your employees are not doing their job as they ought. So that's option 1, which also, to add to that, will also allow the management to have a better way to evaluate their employees, as they would be able to see who's been doing what work, how well they've been doing the work, how quickly they've been doing the work, how detail-oriented they've been. And that will allow the management to be able to better see who's been doing their job and who is indeed deserving of those promotions. The second option will be to have punishments in place. And so punishments or repercussions, and what that could entail, it could look differently for different people in different ways. So one of the ways that this could happen would be for those people who are lying on their evaluations in order to try to get a better promotion. It would mean that they would potentially get a lesser bonus. The people who are lying in the hopes of getting a great bonus might get even less than they were initially going to get if they had just been honest, or maybe even not gain a bonus at all. If this is a continuing trend, it could even lead in job termination. For the management who is condoning this by lying on their employees' evaluations for them, thus saying that they're okay with the lying, it could mean similar. It could mean a issue with the pay, like that they get less of a bonus. It could also mean that they get a demotion. Maybe they're not worthy to be a manager if they're going to be lying. Again, it could accumulate into job termination if it is a recurring theme. For potential employees, for employees who want to be potential managers one day, this would count against them as well. Maybe not necessarily to say that they would never be managers, but it would make it a little harder for them to get promoted because it shows that they're not willing to uphold the integrity and the values of that company. And then the third option would be to combine options 1 and options 2. And I think that this is the best option because by combining options 1 and 2, you get a mixture of reports as well as repercussions for your employees to live up to. And what this will do is, through the benefit of the reports, the managers will be able to have a greater awareness of what their employees are doing and what is happening within the company. This will help them to be able to properly evaluate their employees by realizing who's been doing what work and how well they've been doing it. By having these repercussions in place, it will hold both the employees and the managers to a higher call, a higher responsibility. At the bank has their values, their ideal and their standards on how to do things, and integrity should be one of those. And if integrity is not being met, then there should be a repercussion for that. These repercussions will hold everyone accountable, because if they want to succeed, if they want to get promoted, if they want to get that bonus, if they want to keep their job, they need to be honest. And if they're not being honest, then they know that there's going to be a repercussion, because those repercussions are something that every employee is told as soon as they get hired. It's common knowledge. And so if you do this wrong, you are saying you're okay taking the repercussion with that. And so this combination of reports and punishments or repercussions allows the bank to have a greater awareness and a greater control over what is going on. It allows them to be able to properly oversee what is happening within their company and to be able to hold their employees to a higher standard, which will make their employees be better people. This will also help to make the employees who are good and who are really doing their job want to stay. Because as the good employees who were not getting properly recognized for what they did and were instead seeing everyone else get the recognition and the rewards, they'll see that things are being more fair, they'll get the proper recognition that they deserve, and they will not want to quit. Because the more and more that the good employees see that those who aren't pulling their weight are getting recognized and rewarded and they're not, it's going to eventually could lead to job turnovers, and you could lose those really good employees who have been benefiting your company. And then you're left with all the ones who condone lying. And if they're willing to lie, who knows what else they could do? Would they be willing to cheat? Would they be willing to steal? You never know. But we want to hold that higher standard. And so by having these reports, you get to see what your employees are working on, and you get to make sure that they're actually doing what they're supposed to. By having these repercussions, you have a way to hold them to that higher standard. A way to call them out, a way to call them to be better people. It will make the system fair for everybody, for good employees, bad employees, and managers alike. And if you end up having to let people go because they're lying, well, then you get to hire new people and new managers who are willing to uphold the values and the ideals and the standards of the bank to once again make Afreximbank a wonderful, great place to work and a great business to work with. So in conclusion, we have seen that Afreximbank in Cairo, Egypt has been struggling with properly evaluating their employees due to an improper system, as well as to lack of integrity in their employees. The best solution for this would be to have reports as well as repercussions for the employees. These reports will allow them to be able to better evaluate their employees by allowing them to be able to better see what it is their employees are doing and how long it takes for their employees to do each task. The repercussions will allow them to hold their employees to a higher standard, a higher calling, to be able to uphold the ideals and values of Afreximbank, and once again make Afreximbank a great place to work. Thank you very much, and hope you all have a wonderful day.